Hello, everyone. This is my first recording, hopefully the first of many, um, that I am doing mainly for therapeutic purposes, for my own healing. And if anyone watches it and listens to it and gets something out of it or can relate to my story, then um, I am happy that that's the case too. Um, but just to give a little background before I start talking about what I want to talk about today, is I am 5 weeks post discard after the ending of a 5 year long abusive covert narcissist relationship. Um, so I wanted to talk about some of the hard truths that I've had to accept as I come to terms with the narcissistic relationship and my covert ex. So the first thing is, and probably the hardest thing that it's been for me to accept, is that everything about the relationship, the good times, the bad times, everything was a lie, and he wore a mask the entire time. Um, it's hard to accept that I will never know them, and no one else will ever know them. Um, a lot of people think that my ex is a good guy, that he's charming, that he is kind, that he is a good person. And as I process a lot of the emotions that I'm going through, I have a great support system within my friends, within my sister. I'm in therapy. But something that one of my friends said that really stood out to me was, after in this time of healing, I keep getting flashbacks of something that happened during the relationship that I never told my friends or family about because I wanted to protect my narc. I didn't want them to think anything bad about him, but I remember telling my friends something that I had gotten a really vivid flashback about. And it was a really traumatic instance that happened. And I texted my friends and I said, hey, I just need to get this off my chest. I have to tell someone. I can't keep it in any longer. So I told them, and my friend responded with, wow, we really did not know him. Or wow, it sounds like nobody really knew who he was. And that for me has been such a hard thing to accept because I think I saw, of course, a lot of his bad behaviors and the lying and the insecurities and the red flags, but I always justified it as he is hurt. He has a lot of trauma from his childhood, and he is dealing with a lot of areas where he needs to grow. And I had empathy for that. But now it's been probably on my list. This is the most difficult thing for me to accept, is that everything that he told me, everything that I felt for him was manipulation, and it wasn't true. And I think in the long run that might make it more helpful for me to accept. But right now it's just kind of going through the process of really drilling that into my mind that it wasn't real, and it could never be real, because the narcissist is an expert, especially a covert narcissist, is an expert chameleon. So I've been looking up things on YouTube to trying to kind of get me to come to terms with this, and I haven't seen a lot of videos about that pain that you feel when you have to come to terms with the fact that everything was a lie. But I actually found a comment on a YouTube video that summed it up perfectly, and it said, the grief in my case was not losing them, but realizing the person I thought I loved never existed in the first place. But there came a point where this same fact really helped me to let it go. When you realize it wasn't real, there is nothing to mourn, nothing to miss. There's a lot of pain in confronting and accepting the fact of this betrayal, But once it's done, there's no feeling of loss, just riddance. So that has helped me to kind of be more hopeful as I have patience with myself during this process. I know I won't feel like this forever, and I know that it might even be helpful for me in the long run to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't really losing a good person. I was losing a facade and a fantasy. And it's easier to come to terms with that, I think, than having to let go of a person that was genuinely good. The second hard truth that I've been having to accept, and I think I did accept once I realized and put all the puzzle pieces together and realized that my ex was a covert narcissist, um, it's that you'll never get closure. A lot of the discard is very painful. They purposely choose to discard you in the worst way possible, and maybe I'll get into that in a different video, but um, just coming to terms with the fact that there will never be a conversation, there will never be an answer to all your questions, there will never be a justification or a reason for why they did that during your whole relationship or why they discarded you the way they did. And even if they do offer you some sort of explanation like that, it's going to be a lie. It's just going to be another manipulation tactic if they attempt to try to get more supply from you. So, coming to terms with the fact that it's over, it's done, and unlike a normal relationship with a healthy person, where you might get closure in the form of, we were just not meant to be. We had these incompatibilities. You need to give yourself that closure because they're not going to give it to you. And the best closure I think that you can get is realizing that they're a narcissist and realizing that they don't have the capacity to love you or anyone else because they don't love themselves. And they need to try to get temporary feelings of validation from you um, in order to escape the hell that is their mind. So the third hard truth that I had to accept about my ex-narc and the end of that relationship is that they will move on quickly, if not while you were together. So there were a few things that I noticed about a month prior to the ending of our relationship that maybe I'll discuss in a different recording, but I think at the time I was in such a brain fog that I didn't confront him about it, or there were so many other instances that I confronted him about and it turned into a fight, and I think I was just exhausted at that point, and I saw some signs that he might have been cheating, um, but I just didn't want to rock the boat anymore than I had been, because if you are in a relationship or have been in a relationship with a narc, you know that somehow with every single fight they flip it onto you, that you're just crazy, that you're not seeing what you think you see, that you're just insecure, that how could I be cheating on you? I spend every second with you, that you can look through my phone, but really they're expert liars, and you have to come to terms with that. So the narc, if they discard you, I would say 99% of the time, and that's not cited anywhere in the data, but I would say 99% of the time they already have another supply lined up. And I confirmed this finally after I got out of the narc brain fog. There were some signs while we were together, but after I got out of the brain fog, I think I just wanted to confirm or validate that I wasn't crazy. So I we had a joint bank account and we were on the same phone plan. So I looked through phone records and I looked through the bank account, and I confirmed it. And I was actually able to confirm it um, last week, a little over a week ago. So it's relatively new coming to terms with that fact that they had another supply lined up and that they are with that supply right now. And I will admit that although it's only been a week, I feel that my anger and my anxiety around that has definitely gone down so much now that I've been researching and looking more into narcissistic abuse. Because I know that a lot of things, one, that him and her are probably in the love bombing stage right now. He's probably telling her that I was an awful person, that I did X, Y, and Z to him. He's probably telling her about every single instance of reactive abuse that I participated in, and she's not getting the full story. And that, I think, has kind of helped me to release some of my anger around it, because just like I had to go through this relationship, she's going to have to go through it too, to see who he was and who he is. So when I first found out, it really was upsetting. And for a couple days afterwards, I felt very anxious and sick, and I wasn't eating. But now I think that I kind of can see it from the perspective that this is a journey that, for whatever reason, they need to go on together. I mean, I know why he needs to, it's for supply, but for her, maybe she needs to go through the same thing that I did to learn to love herself and to rebuild herself. So, the fourth hard truth that I've had to accept about the NARC relationship is that they have affected your health, mental health, physical health, and emotional health. And I can't even begin to dive into all of the different ways that my ex-narc has affected my health. I'll just, I guess, give some of the bits and pieces. During the relationship with the ex-narc, I gained 50 pounds. I had insurance for the entire time that we were in the relationship, and I neglected a lot of aspects of my health, including my dental hygiene. So I have been struggling with a lot of dental hygiene issues now, and of course, when it rains, it pours. My insurance is almost up. I was on my parents' plan. And I'm looking at some hefty dental bills right now that I'm going to have to pay out of pocket, because for a lot of the time that I was with the narcissist, I was in a depressive state and an anxious state, and I did not keep up with my oral hygiene the way that I should have, and I'm suffering the consequences of that actually right now. Emotional and mental health, of course, I just mentioned depressive state, anxiety. You're in a constant place of hypervigilance, and that just wreaks havoc on your body. Binge eating, emotional eating. Like I said, I gained 50 pounds. Just a lot of different aspects, the way that they have psychologically tortured you and how that has impacted every area of your health. But I think that accepting that is the first step to changing or reversing some of those negative aspects. So, like I mentioned before, I'm in therapy. I've been consistently working out, because I know that that helps with your dopamine. I've been eating healthy. 90% of serotonin is made in your gut. And if you're not eating healthy, if you're eating junk, then you're not going to have serotonin. It's not going to be able to be formed. So accepting that they have affected your health, but not feeling hopeless, and knowing that from this point on, it's in your control. And it helps as the brain fog lifts too, because you're like in a zombie like state this whole time where nothing matters to you but the relationship with the narc, and trying to keep them happy and keep everything in the relationship happy, um, which is a never ending hamster wheel that you'll be on because they'll never be happy. But um, I did neglect a lot of aspects of my health during that relationship, and I'm really working hard now to get back to a healthy place. The fifth hard truth that I had to accept about the narc relationship is that they will likely never get better and you can't fix them. When I met my narc, he was at a very dark, low place. And I don't know, I don't think I'm necessarily an empath, but I think that I do have a lot of empathy for people. And I thought in the moment that I could fix him. I thought actually during the whole relationship that I could help him, not fix, help him. So at the time, he was living with his mother, who was and is a overt narc, which I could make a whole video about that and why her being an overt narc kind of kept me in the dark about his covert narcissism, because I always looked to her, and him and I both agreed, oh yeah, she's a narcissist. She had the grandiose personality. She always was seeking validation from people, substance abuse. And so I think that kind of kept me in the dark about who he is, because I was like, well, he doesn't act like that, so he can't be an narc. Um, but it was after the ending of the relationship that I realized that he could be, and he is, and there's different types of narcissists. So, um, anyway, back to what I was saying. Um, he was in a very toxic situation living with her, and I got a job, my first big girl job, and I got us an apartment in my name, and I moved him out. He had no credit, or very bad credit. He didn't have a car. He didn't have um, a phone in his name. He would either use burner phones, track phones, or he would use he would get on. He was on his mom's phone plan for a little bit. I helped him to get a credit card to help rebuild his credit. Um, I encouraged him to um, leave his job with her because she had so much control over him. Not only did they live together, but he worked for her. And for a little bit, he did leave his job with her, and got a different job. But of course, he ended up back at the job with her. But in those instances, I thought that I was helping him. I thought that I could help him get out of what I thought was this abusive relationship with his mother. And it is an abusive relationship, but I didn't see that their enmeshment was so deep that my efforts to helping him would only work for a little bit. And like I said, they only worked for a little bit. He worked at this new job for a month or two and then was back at the job with his mother. So you might want to help your narc. You might see them in a place when you meet them and think that you can improve their life in some way, and you definitely can, but it will never be enough. You will have to give and give and give and give of yourself until you have nothing left for yourself, until you neglect every other aspect of your life for them. And that's when the discard happens, because they have put you in such a bad place through devaluation, through your giving and compassion for them. So that was a hard truth for me to accept, that he's not going to get better, that there is no future because of that between the two of us, and that there is also no future for him. I really believe that the nature of his personality disorder and his mother's is that they are each other's soulmates in a sense, in that they both understand each other more than anyone else in the world could understand them. Maybe another narc might be able to understand them, but they're both narcissists. And although different types, I think that they will end up together in this relationship where they both hate each other so much. My ex-narc on a weekly basis said that he wished his mother was dead, that he hated her so much that he would describe graphically different ways that he wished that she would die, along with his own threats of offing himself. But that's a different topic. But it's also very uncommon for someone with narcissistic personality disorder to seek out help. And I encouraged him the entire time we were together to go to therapy, to get help, to, you know, do something that would help him deal with, because I saw the pain he was in. If you ever get close to a narcissist, you see just how much pain they're in, and that makes you want to help them more. And it's such a sadistic game because you think that if you love them enough, or if you give them enough help, or if you put more and more and more of yourself into them, that you can help them heal their wounds, and you see their pain and you want to help them, but they will never get better. Narcissists don't seek out treatment, they don't seek out therapy. And it's almost impossible, actually, I think it is impossible for them to empathize. So they won't fix themselves for themselves, and they won't fix themselves for anybody else. They might pretend to for a little bit, but the efforts will never stick. The sixth and last hard truth that you have to accept about the narcissist relationship is that likely anybody in their life who has been a constant in their life, my ex-narc didn't really have any friends. It was just family members, really. But your ex-narc or your narc is around enablers. And sadly, you were probably one of them. By like the example I gave about trying to help them or fix them, that's an example of enabling. But say that you're in the spot where you and your ex-narc are no longer together. They're going to be around people, and probably are right now around people who are saying, you did the right thing by discarding that person. Or if you discarded them or you broke up with them, they're going to say, well, they're a bitch. They're this, they're that for breaking up with you. You're a good person. You don't deserve that. And a lot of times there's a fine line between being supportive and being enabling. And in his case, the people that he is around, especially his overt narc mother, she enables him. She is his biggest supporter and his biggest hater at the same time. And so right now, I have no doubt in my mind that she is saying, you're better off without her. Just focus on your new supply. Not in those words, obviously, but, you know, she's not good for you. She's this, that, and that. And when a narcissist gets into that headspace, it's already unlikely that the narcissist is going to try and do anything to fix their negative behaviors or patterns or thought processes. But when they're around people that say, oh, it's okay that you cheated, it's okay that you're with the new supply right now, it's okay that you discarded them the way that you did, they deserved it, you know? And actually, I know that this is happening because this is exactly how my ex-narc's mother discarded her ex-husband. She cheated on him, and she is still with the person that she cheated on her ex-husband with to this day. And I remember many, many instances of talking with her and her telling me about all of the bad things that her ex did to her and why she was trying to justify why she cheated on her ex-husband because he did this and he did that. And she always wanted to make herself seem like the victim, the victimization of the narcissist, right? Funny. But I can see that she would be doing the same thing with her son, my ex narc, right now, trying to make him feel like he was the victim in the relationship. And that, again, is why the narcissist will never change, because they have these enablers around them who will tell them that they were right, they're justified, and then the narc will get into another relationship with a new supply, and the patterns will repeat again until that person is so devalued, or hopefully they wise up and leave the narc before they can discard them. And this cycle will keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and the narc will never have a fulfilling, long-lasting relationship because of this. My ex-narc's mother has been with many, many different men in her life in different relationships, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I do think that you need to take time to heal from the last relationship that you were in, to introspect and see what went wrong so that you can be better for your next relationship. And if you're constantly jumping from relationship to relationship, whether it's cheating or whether it's a week later or a month later, you're getting into a new relationship already. If you're doing that, every relationship that you're in, whether you're a narc or not, is going to repeat the same pattern. So it's important that you don't surround yourself with enablers. It's important that you take the time to introspect and not enable yourself too. But that is a hard truth, because I had been in the shoes of the new supply, and I know that the new supply is being fed things from the ex-narc and his mother, maybe about me, maybe about the narc, and she's getting fed this narrative that him and his mother are the victims, and it's simply not true. So that was it for my list of hard truths that I've had to accept about the narcissistic relationship. All of these were things that I have been gradually getting clarity on, and it's honestly been helping me to heal too, because I can put names and educate myself about narcissist abuse and recognize that so many people have gone through this or are going through this, and it helps me a lot, honestly, because I know that I'm not alone, and I know that there's all these different resources out there for people who have suffered the same thing I'm going through right now. And that's honestly why I'm making this recording now, and I want to make more, and I have a whole list in my phone of different topics that I want to talk about, because I think that talking about it is really healing for myself, and possibly if someone listens to this, they'll also feel the same way that I feel, that you're not alone, and you're not crazy, and everything happened, and there are going to be some hard things that you have to accept now that the relationship is over, or that you need to accept if you're in the relationship and you need the strength to get out of it. So that's it for this recording. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.